all this get to public, to benefit the members of the public.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with the coming into effect of this particular law, Martin,
yes,
what changes immediately?
I think the first thing that changes is that, most organizations that were registered under the Non-Government Organization and Coordination Act now will be referred to as public benefit organizations. And that is primarily because with the commencement or the operationalization of the Act today, the Act envisages that if you are registered under the NGO board regime, then you naturally transition to this new Act. So that is the first significant change. The second is that this, the PBO Act, as is right now, introduces a number of new organizations. I say, let me call them creatures.
Okay.
Yes, the first is it will have a board that is composed of course, the CS would nominate a chairperson, and that board would be composed of certain persons. Then there is a federation that will be composed of different CSOs. And then it also introduces a tribunal that brings about a framework of how disputes among public organization acts can be resolved. So for instance, if you applied under the new law to be registered and you didn't get a response within 60 days, then you are allowed to actually write to the board.
To the tribunal.
Yes, to the tribunal, and then after that they would respond to you within 14 days, which is more or less seamless. Other than that, there are a number of benefits that come about with this act. It enhances more transparency. It provides for ease of filing returns, and it's actually easy for every Kenyan to actually know what are the registered act assets of a specific public benefits organization. And when you actually you can actually go into the register and know who actually searched for the specific register of a specific public benefits organization. So it enhances transparency, accountability, and also enhances cooperation amongst public benefit organizations and the government, which was not the case before, because for a long time there's been mistrust between PBOs and between civil society organizations, now PBOs, and the government. And we all fondly remember that in a couple of years back, 2016, 2017, when one Fazul Mohammed, by a stroke of pen, actually threatened to deregister several organizations, including the Kenya Human Rights Commission, on Twitter, not even through any written communication. So this act comes into to cure such mischiefs, whereby there must be a written formal communication from the relevant authority as to why. It actually lays even down grounds as to why a public benefit organization act, or a public benefit organization would actually be deregistered or not.
Okay.
Yes. So it comes around with several changes that are quite progressive and aligned to other democracies around the world.
Let me just throw this one out there. Why are PBOs important?
PBOs are extremely important, not just important, extremely important, because when you look at the broad work that is done by many public benefit organizations today in Kenya, one, they help in advancing. First, let me start with our Chapter 4 rights. So when you look at all the rights that are enshrined under the Bill of Rights, most PBOs actually advance to actually try to ensure that these laws are actually advanced, and that where the government has an obligation, then it meets its obligation. A good example is we've just gone away from a flood pandemic, and you all have seen the government's lackluster response. Secondly, PBOs play an instrumental role in terms of civic education, specifically around elections, and not elections per se, but a number of other broad key governance and human rights issues. Then thirdly, PBOs over time have actually helped to represent those those you could consider maybe minorities who cannot actually maybe present petitions before courts of law. And we have seen over the last couple of years that public benefit organizations have actually come up with a lot of fundamental decisions that have been very progressive in courts of law.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I can just